What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Key West Waterman. My name is Aaron Young. Today, we're going to do a side by side comparison of the two newest action cameras just released. We have the DJI Osmo Action 5 Pro and the GoPro Hero 13 Black. If you listen to me ramble for just a couple minutes, I'll tell you everything you need to know about this video and what you can expect to learn from it. I've had these cameras for about the last 2 weeks now. I've been doing some side by side comparisons. I want to be honest and transparent, as I always am. As of the last year, I have been a DJI fan, but you should know since GoPro started, I have been a GoPro fan up until last year. I've owned every GoPro they've ever had. About 2 or 3 years ago, I started having a lot of trouble with them, overheating, clips cutting, audio cutting out. So I started to look elsewhere, and I ran into the Action 4, and it was a game changer for me. But my loyalty lies with you, the viewers. I want you guys to receive the best quality product possible. So whatever camera does the best job for me is the camera I'm going to use. I'm loyal to no one but you guys, the viewers. Just a couple things about me, how I film, and what you can expect from this video. I am a plug and play type of guy. I don't do any back end work, no color grading. I film everything in 8-bit. I don't do any of the 10-bit stuff in color grade. I'm just not tech savvy like that. I want a camera that I can turn on, turn off, cut the clip, put it together, and upload it to YouTube. I don't do any back end stuff. I typically am going to do a lot of underwater footage. I do some land based stuff that's going to be outdoor landscape style. Um, we do a little bit indoors where we're filming if we're cooking something that we catch. We live down here in the Florida Keys. We live in and on the water. And what you can expect from this video, I'm going to focus on the new upgrades, the new features that they have. We're all used to Horizon Steady and Rocksteady and Hypersmooth and Horizon Lock, or I can't remember all the names, but we're all used to those new features, those old features. Those are all standard now on these cameras. So I'm going to focus on the new upgrades that they did add to them, what I like and what I don't like, and hopefully it helps somebody out. Let's dive in. All right, so let's check out some side by sides. I feel like this is the best way for you guys to get a good feel for what the cameras are shooting. Again, I do no color grading. I just trim clips, put them together, and post them on YouTube. I don't touch the colors up at all. But this is basic settings, 4K 30, 8-bit wide field of view. Video stabilization is on. I have not messed with any other settings. Everything else is from the factory. But this is what you got. I like doing these side by sides because I feel like you get a real feel of it, and you guys can decide which camera you prefer. Not everyone likes one or the other. There are different preferences. I personally like the DJI. I feel like it looks more like what I saw when I was there diving. It looks more realistic to me. And one other thing I noticed that when you come out of the water, the GoPro stays saturated a lot longer. It's got like a lot more red. That's one thing that bothers me, and you probably wouldn't notice it even when you come in the water right here on this one. Um, you wouldn't notice it if you didn't have them side by side, but that's why I like doing this. This above water shot, I honestly prefer the GoPro on this particular shot. Just looks a little more crisp. So I wanted to get out a little bit deeper, show you some color differences at depth. You do lose color at depth. The bottom is about 35 feet here. Neither camera's in the housing. The GoPro, I had to stop. The GoPro, I think, is limited to, I think it's like 33 feet without the housing. The DJI can go up to 65 or 66. Some above water mangroves. This is the canal in the backyard. I know not everyone is blessed with crystal clear water, so I wanted to jump in some murky water in the canal out back. Just give you an idea of what it looks like. So my absolute favorite feature and upgrade on the Action 5 is coming up next. You guys have been asking for this for quite some time, and I love that they're listening to customers. The camera has an on-screen sensor that shows you your depth, and I can also add a timer after filming. It has a pressure sensor built in. It is unbelievable. It shows your active depth as you descend and ascend, and it's unbelievable. It also works for altitude if you're going up hiking or whatnot. But I think this is an amazing feature. The only thing is it has to be out of the housing to work, which isn't a huge deal. It's up to 66 feet without the housing. I sometimes dive a little deeper, but I love this feature. I think it is incredible. They are listening and catering to divers. How cool is that? There is actually another mode you can enable that will automatically record once you start your dive, and it'll automatically stop recording once you ascend to the surface. So you can see here, I wanted to show you can see it on the screen as you're filming. You can see on the DJI, it has your active depth as you're going up and down. It'll show you your real-time depth. So cool. So let's talk about some of the upgrades. What did the cameras upgrade? The first and most important, I think, being the battery life. Everyone's always worried about the battery life. Me being a diver, I have wet hands during the day. The last thing I want to do is open that little battery door and get some water in there. So if I can have a battery that lasts me all day, that's one less thing I have to worry about. So both cameras actually upgraded their battery. GoPro to a 1900 milliamp hour battery, DJI to a 1950 milliamp hour battery. So what does that mean? What do those numbers mean? Basically bigger batteries, longer battery life. So I did independent tests. I know they do tests in their controlled environment, but I always like to test it myself, see how it runs in my environment where I am. So I set up both cameras the way that I would film. Rock steady on, hyper smooth on, 8-bit, wide field of view, shortest screen saver timeout setting. And I did both cameras 4K 30 and 1080p 30. I ran it multiple times. The DJI ran at 1080p 30 for 170 minutes. The GoPro ran at 1080p 30 for 153 minutes. GoPro ran at 4K 30 for 105 minutes, and the DJI ran at 4K 30 for 155 minutes. So that's huge. I can, for the most part, I'm not gathering more than an hour, 2 hours of dive footage, so I can run the entire day. And I, for the most part, could with the Action 4, but I can run the entire day with one battery, and that's amazing. One other feature that I really like that they did on the Action 5, and they did not upgrade it on the GoPro. Just one more thing that they're thinking about is they actually added internal storage. So I do not have an SD card in here. There's no SD card in there, and they added. I think it's like 66 gigs, but some of it's obviously used by the camera, but has 140 or 140 47 gigabytes of internal storage. So if you don't have an SD card or you forget your SD card, which I'm notorious for, I don't have to worry about that. And on my average day of filming, on a really heavy day of filming, I'm doing 30 to 40 gigs. That's the heavy day. So I don't even need an SD card for the Action 5. Another test that I ran that's important to me, it may not be important to everyone else, but as a diver, a lot of things sneak up on you. A lot of situations that you can't miss happen in a very short amount of time. So if my camera's off, I want to get it on as quickly as possible. And nowadays, all of these cameras they come with one button on. So when you hit the shutter button, it automatically turns on and records. So I wanted to see how long it would take each camera from pressing the button to actually start recording. So I actually filmed that I did my best. I ran it like 10 times just to make sure it was fair and that I got it correctly. Um, but on average, from hitting the button to getting your first recording, the DJI was about 1.5 to 2 seconds, and the GoPro was about 4 to 5 seconds. So that's a big deal. If I have a fish come in, my camera's not on, I hit it, and I shoot the fish right away, I'm going to miss the action and I missed an important clip. So that's a big deal for me. A couple of GoPro upgrades for who it may concern. Not stuff I would particularly use, but I thought it was actually pretty creative. They came out with a wireless charging door. So if you need continuous power to your camera, you don't have to leave that door open and run the risk of getting moisture or water in there. You just change that door out and it has a wireless plug that just mounts right onto the side. It's magnetic, it comes right off, but it provides continuous power to the camera. They also came out with a quick attach called Click It and Rip It. Love the name, by the way. They're catching up with DJI on that. DJI has their quick attachment that they've had. I think they did it last year or 2 years ago. This is my custom tripod, by the way. Similar concept. I didn't spend my money on a lot of these accessories because I wasn't sure if I'd be using them on the GoPro side, but I read up on a ton of them and they look pretty cool. So similar to this, it's just a magnetic quick attach, but GoPro came out with their own version of it. So I do like that they did that. I think that's a really popular option. And they came out with a lens package. I don't personally use lenses. I'm a pretty plug and play kind of guy. But I did see some interesting ones on there, especially they had a macro lens, so you can do really small stuff and focus in on really small scenes or creatures or bugs or whatever it may be. But I thought that was pretty neat. One thing I'm not a fan of that GoPro did, and I understand with development there comes change, but they did change the design or shape of the battery. So if you have a multi battery charger, you will have to get a new one. It will no longer, if you have any of the old batteries, they will no longer work with the 13. I do understand that. DJI kept it the same. You've got the new 1950 milliamp hour battery in there, along with the old ones. They still work. They're interchangeable from camera to camera as well. One thing GoPro did that I actually do like, if you use wireless mics, I use them all the time. My wife has a real estate YouTube channel that I'm the cameraman and the editor, so we use these mics all the time. They are amazing. But GoPro actually made them compatible with the camera. You can connect directly, and you can actually see the audio level there on the bottom. I've got this one connected. Whoop! You can see it's connected direct to the camera. That's one feature that they added that I really am a fan of. They are, however, just catching up with DJI on that because the Action 4 last year's camera had compatibility with these. Connect straight to Bluetooth, no cords or adapters needed. However, DJI took it one step further as they normally do, and you can now connect 2 of the DJI wireless mics directly to the Action 5. You can see you can monitor both mics right there on the screen. If you do any podcast filming or interview style videos, which I do myself, I absolutely love this feature. This is amazing. Less back-end work for me, so I am extremely excited about this upgrade. That is all I got. Some final thoughts. I can say with confidence I will still be using the Action 5. That new depth sensor is amazing. The underwater colors speak for themselves. The battery life, the internal storage, the list goes on. This has been my camera. Like I said, I was stubborn for years. I supported GoPro through all of it. But unfortunately, for me, this is the better camera. So if by chance this video helped you out, make your decision. I will have links in the description for either camera. Using those direct links does help support the channel. I do appreciate it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I will do my very best to get to them. But that is all I've got. Look forward to making some new footage with this camera, and I will see you on the next one. Later.